Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher, and welcome to another day of Inktober 2022. Today we are on October 11th and 12th, and let's just jump right in. So October 11th is Bravensword by Debbie New. And October 12th is SOCC, I guess Socc, by Erin Olson, CZT. And I have, let me zoom in on the first one. So Bravensword is one by Debbie New, and she's part of the group 7 Forest 5 Rivers 7F5R with Stephanie New, who does the Inktober 2022 Tangle list. Anyway, these are some of the examples that you'll see if you go to the PDF and look at what they have done. It can be a fragment. It can be kind of flowery. This one, and I have the name here, I don't know if I can read it. Lahwania CZT 36 in the Mosaic app, and she did a border like that. I also used Bravensword in one of my videos, and I'll try to remember to link it down in the bottom, but if you do a search for Bravensword in my YouTube channel, you can see how I did it in the center of this Zendala. All right, let's get started. I'll start by showing just basically how the pattern works. And the way that she starts is with an orb and then a line down to another orb. And then I like to mark just very lightly halfway between those and come up to a point, come down and through that center point, come back around, and then we're going to go back and under that one. Okay, so that's the very basics of the pattern. And then, like I showed you, you could fill them in a lot of different ways. Okay. And the way I'm going to do it today is a little different. I looked at, of course, I always do go through the Mosaic app, and I used the hashtag and looked on Facebook and Instagram because I always like to see what other people have done with that pattern. And I'm just going to put it twice on this tile. And so I'm using my pencil just to give me kind of a guide very lightly to find the center points. And I'm going to put my two orbs. So I'm going to start about here and then go about the same distance this side. Okay. And then I'm going to come up and make my point and then come back down. What I like to do though is turn and then do the same thing on the other side. I tend to get it a little more even when I do that. Oh, I didn't do the center line. Can do that now. Okay, so I'm going to do that same thing on this side. Okay. Now I'm going to make that same little point coming up from that orb back down to the center. And then I'm going to turn it, do the same thing on this side. Okay. And oftentimes what you'll see is kind of an aura on each side, just a little bit. Sorry. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And this also helps me to even these out a little bit. This one I'm going to put kind of on the inside. All right. And I'm going to do something a little different on these. I'm going to come off this edge and bring a petal down to the center and add that little bit of an echo or aura like you did on that other side, and do the same thing here. I saw something similar to this and kind of played around with it. I thought it looked nice. Okay, and now I'm gonna just add a little bit of a shadow, or fill this in actually with a little sparkle on each side. And in doing this, I'm also able to even this out a little bit if I want to. And then on this side. And I'm going to fill in this orb and leave a sparkle on the orb. Okay, so just something different. So again, we're going to add sparkle on this one and on this side. I'm going to add an aura coming down with a little bit of an aura inside of that. I guess that's really called an echo line. It kind of echoes that. Another one on this side with an aura inside of it. Just play around with these. That's what I have learned by watching what other people have done. Just kind of play around with it and add your own little touch. I tend to look at what several people have done and then end up combining ideas. All right. Add my sparkle on each side. And if you don't get this exactly the way you want it, you can always come back with a white gel pen to put that sparkle. Okay, here's my echo on this side with a little aura towards the top. Then on this side. Now filling in this orb. I really enjoy looking at what other people have done. I don't feel like I'm the most creative person, but I can watch what another person has done and pull it into my art. That's what I love the most about Zentangle is how much we're able to share with others and use their ideas to inspire us. Okay, I'm going to add one more little detail. Just a little, almost like a little fescue inside each one of these, just for fun. It's another idea that I saw. All right. There you go. That's Bravensword by Debbie New. I did not mention all the tools I'm using. I've been using a Micron 01. I'm doing the same tools on all of these. Graphite pencil, blending stump, and sometimes an eraser. I'm just going to go ahead and take those lines out. And I'm going to put some graphite on each side of these and at the bottom. Okay, and then take my blending stump, soften that. Oh, sorry. Okay. The next pattern is this one, Socc by Erin Olson. And this one starts, it is really an easy pattern, and it just starts with a grid, and then within that grid you just start putting like the pattern bales, and bales is simply putting these little rice shapes inside each of your squares or rectangles, however that turns out. Okay, but with this pattern you keep going. I've actually found a little bit easier if I'll go clockwise. Going a little bit fast here just to show you. And then you're going to fill in that center part. And I like to add a little bit of ink going back down to the corner to add some drama and depth to those lines. What's fun about this, though, is in this grid, you could add a line here. You could do it with lines this way, and then you just continue to add your little rice shapes like I've got here. Okay, so I'll do it on the tile. I really had a lot of fun with this. Let me show you. This is the same kind of paper that I had, but I did it on this one. And I meant to take a charcoal pencil, not charcoal, but pastel pencil, and highlight it, but I haven't done that yet. But this is just a triangle. This one has a triangle in it. It's just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing that. So let's just go ahead and get started. I'm going to put a border on here to start my grid. To me, this was a very relaxing and meditative type pattern because I didn't really have to think about what I was doing except to decide how I wanted to do the grid. Okay, so I'm going to start out with basically the same grid that Erin had in her step out. So she started like this, and then she divided this one into thirds. Okay, and then she did a couple of them with an extra line. But let's just go ahead and start with this center rectangle and add our little rice shapes. And then, like I said, we'll just keep, oops, I didn't mean for that one to be so wide. I think it does a little better if you don't make them very far apart. And don't worry about any of these looking perfect. So just keep coming in a little at a time. Until it's almost filled, like that. Okay. And then we're going to fill in that center part. And again, I'm going to make a line that goes to the corner. And let's do this one. Breathe. Relax your shoulders. And usually when I'm saying that, it's because that's what I need to do. You can see I'm not keeping these exactly the same. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Stop wherever you want. And fill in your center. Bring it to the corner. Okay, I'm going to do this side. Again, there's not a lot of worry about how to do this pattern because it's super simple. Okay, I'm going to stop there and fill this one in. Your only decision is how to divide up this grid. And like I said, I really loved how this came together and the effect that it gives, like here, like it's pushing down on that one. Okay, so let's take this one and I'm going to divide it into triangles. So let's see what that does. I don't think she showed triangles in her step out, but when I looked in the Mosaic app, I saw a lot of people had used this pattern in a lot of different ways, and it was really neat. Okay, that one's different, but again, it's okay. If you find that, like here, it's kind of far apart, you could put another line in between. and fill it in. And one more side. Probably a little bit easier to do on a large tile instead of a bijou. But you get the idea. Bring your lines down to the corner. Okay, let's do something different on this one. We could put 2 lines here. Fill this in. I think what's fun is you don't know how it's going to look till it's all finished, which is actually what all of our tiles should be. Not worrying about the finished product, but just enjoying one line at a time. When I actually do that, like on these tiles that seem easy and meditative, that's when I love Zentangle the most. When I first started Zentangle, I was trying to meditate and not doing very well at it. And Zentangle became my meditation. Okay, do this one. And you can do even kind of a wonky grid and use this as a filler for any size area. Speaking of wonky, that one looks a little wonky. My hand starts hurting, so move your hand around, wiggle your fingers. Okay. And I'm going to divide this one again. This also reminds me, there's two different patterns. One is garlic cloves and one is onion drops, I think, that turn out very similar to this. And we'll divide this one again. Like I said, when I was doing this, I had a lot of fun trying to decide how it might look depending on how I divided up the grid. All right, last one. Sorry, I hope I wasn't off the screen. So there you go. So, like I said, this one was actually, this one was just a square. This one was divided into triangles. And it's kind of hard to know exactly what I did. But what I want to show you too is here's the original border that I had. You can go outside the border with these and kind of give it a puffy look. So I'm going to do that on this one. Just add a couple lines coming out. Okay. I really like how that changes the look and kind of softens it. Okay. And then this one will be long. All right, there you go. Let's shade it. And most of the shading is going to be on these same lines that we've already darkened a little bit, but I think it's going to add some dimension to it when we add this shading. So just stay on those lines. And if you didn't have this colored paper, like what I have here, if you have just a white tile, you could also come back with white charcoal pencil and add a little bit of highlighting. I might try this on here, but I'm not sure if we'll see it as much as you would see like on a Renaissance tile or a tan tile. I think we're going to have to try that next. So I'm basically just going around each one of these, and I may have missed some. That's okay. And then just go in and soften it. Don't think I got any here. And you could, if you wanted to take more time, add more of the graphite here on each one of these. Let me do one. To give it a little bit more dimension. Okay. And then that's where you would come back with the white charcoal and add a little bit of highlight there. Okay, so that is Socc. I'm going to call it Socc, S-O-C-C, and Bravensword, and let's see what we have so far. So we have 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm going to go get another one of the 12 by 12 frames that these will eventually go into, and then I'll just have them on there after I go get it instead of having to lay these out each time. All right, there we go. We have 12 days done. Can you believe it? Thanks again for joining me. Please hit the like button and subscribe. If you want to support me, there's a link in the description to coffee.com, or there's a super thanks now on my videos. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you again in 2 days. Bye.